My project will be 8 ICON T-handle Torx wrenches that I need to drill out a block of wood to use as a stand. Shitter sitting in this thing here. It should be pretty simple to make. So let us see. Drill little holes in here. Roughly like that. Okay, this is what the holes look like. A little bit rough. Okay. So it looks like this. Today's project will be install these pressure gauges onto my water filter. First step will be to see if these 1/4-inch fittings, waterline fittings, are the main ones, 0 to 100. I first tried the, when I first got, so there's a gauge problem. 66 PSI. Or I could epoxy and be less destructive than if you choose. Epoxy less destructive way to do it. The gauges that came with it were faulty. Silicone it in. See, might hold. Probably reuse this element, so there is corrosion. It's open. Here it is. 153. Water flew into there. Into here. And today I have some significant projects to do. Grab this without throwing my back out. Extremely heavy. Duke ring expander and reducer mount onto this because I don't want to have to drill it in. I think that's pretty firm now. It's pretty firm. So this Duke ring expander, this is my wedding band. It is 14 karat gold. This was purchased in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, around 1993 at a price of approximately $495. This is 8.2 grams of gold. Doesn't seem like much, but the current gold price is of like $3,400. June 10, Tuesday, 2025, about $510 or so. Spot gold pricing, because this is 14 karat, 58.3% gold. Multiply 0.583 times 0.25 ounces or so, 8.2 grams, and you'll see that it comes out to about $510 spot. And this is a aluminum mandrel, and you're supposed to measure at the bottom where the contact forms, and you see this 19 Hong Kong measure. Maybe it's halfway between 8.5 and 8.75. Let's call it 8.75 mandrel ring measure. For the past decade, when I'm taking a shower, the ring slips off. And it runs the risk of running down the shower drain if it's large. Now recently, it's been just flying off when I'm just walking around whenever it catches on something. So the project for today is to anneal this ring at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. 500 degrees Fahrenheit won't melt the gold, but it will soften it, make it malleable, at which point I will pull it out of the heat. Then I'm going to immediately try to press it into the ring press to shape it, and I will quickly remeasure to see how that looks like. So you saw it was 8.75 to begin with. I'll just hold this. This is hardened steel. Hopefully that will tolerate me holding this ring like this in the heat. So the key to this will be to find a ring that will shrink it. Now that's too large. I don't want to reduce it, but so that's probably just about right. whereas that one is a bit too perfect. That one is a bit too small. So this is the correct ring that I will need to do to press. So when I try to crank it down cold, I risk cracking the gold, and that is why I have to be careful. There we are. 500, which is the highest. May not be doing anything. It's maybe a failed experiment. It doesn't seem to be moving much. So I'm gonna have to hold it into the flame for much longer, I think. All right, let's try it now. Is it moving? Not clearly moving. Cools down very fast. That's one of the problems. Yeah, it just barely moves it. Barely moves the fucker. Don't see a lot of movement here. Maybe that made a difference here. That might have made a difference. Look at that. Look at that. 8.25 on this side. That moved it. That moved the dial. I think it just required pounding. Clearly, this is as far as it'll go. It's moved to just over 18 Hong Kong, 8.25 American from 8.75 American. I think I'm happy. I think I'm happy with that result. So it took quite a bit of pounding with the mallet to get that to move. I think I'm gonna say that was a successful result after a huge thrash. So this is clearly reduced. It's clearly reduced. I'm not sure if I can feel it on my finger, but yeah, there seems to be a little bit more resistance coming off now. It does come off though, but you gotta leave a little bit of room for edema. So I'm gonna say that is a successful result for me. The end result is a slightly tighter ring. It's tighter by half a ring size almost. That's pretty damn good. I think what is more or less successful is this Growonix unit. It's a new water gauges. Here are the old water gauges. The old water gauges that came with the Growonix unit is a 2-inch. And more importantly, it went from 0 to 160 PSI. By code, homeowners' PSI cannot go, I think, over 75 PSI. We set the outside spigot at the main line to about 71, 72. At this outlet that I measured directly with this fitting and this water gauge it went to about 62, about 66 PSI. Emanates from this blue line right here at that connection. And yet that old 2-inch water gauge was reading 42 PSI. So I racked my brain. I changed out this line, thinking initially that the chloramines must have caused deposits into that line. When I pulled the old black line out and I put in new elbows too, I found that they were fine. And here are those old elbows. Generally, it was not clogged at all. The old line was fine too. But I did put these new elbows in, put in new 1/4-inch lines, got these new Mainland 0 to 100 PSI gauges on both sides. Here's what I got as far as pressures. Here, I will turn it on. There it goes, all the way to 68 right here. 62, 4, 6, 8, 70, 68 PSI. Pretty damn good. And so it is solved. I can read full pressure PSI at this gauge now. And that took almost a month of problem shooting to get that figured out and fixed. Because the first thing I did was change out the filter. My filter, I was using spun polypropylene filters. They suspected that the pre-filter was incorrect or was too high a resistance, spun polypropylene. So it suggested I use a lower resistance one. So I used this slightly more expensive 5-micron one with a pleated. Didn't solve the problem. It was still reading 42. Then I proceeded to change out the elbows and put in a new 1/4-inch line. And again, it failed to fix the problem. Still 42. And then I was thinking about back pressure. Back pressure wasn't the problem. Finally, turns out it was these gauges were the problem. Turns out I salvaged this elbow as well. This elbow is fine to reuse in the future. Turns out this is the problem. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see that corrosion. That green copper corrosion. So inside of this is what they call the Bourdain tube. And it blows out like a party blower. It unfurls with pressure. And the pressure translates into small movements that is read at the dial. And I believe there are little bits of crud. You can kind of see that the inlet there is occluded with corrosion. And I believe that was the 24 PSI drop. I'm pretty sure that was the 24 PSI drop. So I'm going to keep this as a memento of what the problem was. I believe I have identified as the source of the 24 PSI drop in pressure. That project is solved. Now my ring, my wedding band, half a size reduction in size is solved. What else is there to talk about? Keyboard that you see there. So this is the ROYALAXE R100. This was produced by ProtoArc. ProtoArc, Chinese company, I think in the Guangdong province. fairly hefty. And as you can see, RGB lighting, rainbow flicker right now. Helps you see it in the dark. But this keyboard comes with this kind of is this a cherry profile? Yeah, it's kind of a somewhat modified cherry profile. Good flattened tips right there. PBT keycaps. It's got its own proprietary markings here. So you click function, it's Bluetooth 1, 2, 3. 3 Bluetooth connections. You click function, and you got RGB, brightness. That goes to single lighting there. Are these colors? Lighting, brightness, music, muting, forward, backward, off, on right there. So I guess I could turn it off completely by doing that. Does Windows and Mac OS? I'm on Bluetooth connection here, which is critical. For this distance, I'm turns out about 15 feet away. Tried the 2.4 dongle, this thing right here. This 2.4 dongle on further evaluation, turns out only works at about 3-foot distance. Beyond that, very, very unreliable, essentially impossible connection. And so I had to use Bluetooth only, or wired. I got this keyboard for this purpose, to work from this 15-foot distance, and for that, Bluetooth works fine. Click here, my mouse. There's the speed right there from the basement. I got a 2.5 gig connection, but this is just a 2 gig, what do you call that, LAN computer. So it just will read up to 900. Typing test, something like that. Get the name of that website, maybe with this one. Having a bad day here. Very bad day. Anyway, you get the idea. Hopefully you can hear some of the sounds of the keys. Linear, Gateron, 3 Pro yellow, something switch. Linear, I think it was a 60 gram bottoming out force. Fairly smooth. I think it's designed for gaming, not the greatest typing feel. There's no tactile bump to it. It's a very, very decent keyboard by ProtoArch. USB-C charging and direct wire, and doesn't have the pull-out stanchions. 96% keyboard layout, and it's a decent keyboard for the price. It connects at 15 feet using Bluetooth connection. That's very reliable. Guess how much I paid for this thing on eBay? $38 taxed and shipped. 38 bucks. An unbelievable bargain. 38 bucks taxed and shipped for this keyboard. I think they were originally offered for in the range of like 75 bucks or so, but now I think it's been a couple of years since they came out. Very, very nifty, very solid woody low keyboard. Noctua colorway. Keyboard does have stabilizers. The switches are hot swappable. Pretty much everything is optimized on this keyboard. But I don't think there's really anything else much to talk about, so I might sign off.